Hey guys, how's it going? Dudey here. I'm back with another video. Today I thought, you know what, obviously with lockdown all over and stuff, what have I done? Well, I've watched a lot of movies, yeah, and my favourite genre by a country mile is horror. And obviously horror, you know, a lot of people can take it, a lot of people can leave it. There is a lot of shite horror movies. I'm not going to beat around the bush, but today what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at 21, bit of a weird number, but 21 horror movies that I have recently watched on Netflix, and I put them into a tier list for you, which may help you decide what horror movie you're going to watch next on Netflix. If this video gets 1,000 likes, guys, I will do a horror series tier list, and if that one gets 1,000 likes, then hell, I'll do a true crime documentary tier list. How does that sound? Okay, so guys, without further ado, let's jump into the tier list. Okay, so at the bottom of this tier list, we have Just Don't. And what this basically means is, I've watched it, so you don't have to, okay? There is nothing special about these movies in my opinion. They are just shite. There is no redeeming qualities about them. You will not lose anything in your life through not watching them, okay? So the first Just Don't tier movie is Daybreakers. Now the premise for Daybreakers is quite cool. It's in a dystopian future where vampires are now the majority. In fact, humans are becoming extinct and vampires are trying to snuff out the last humans so that they can use them as a replenishable human blood source, because if they feast on each other, they become these weird degenerate bat things. And the scariest thing is, this vampire disease actually began in 2009 when an infected bat started spreading a virus. Does that sound familiar to you at all? But yeah, so basically there's a vampire and he discovers that there is a cure, because an ex-vampire who's now human again is like, yo, I'm no longer a vampire, and they were. Anyway, it's just, it sounds a lot better on paper than the execution, and that's why it's in Just Don't. Next up, we have one of the worst, if not the worst, horror film I've ever seen. Yeah, it's called Open House. It's a Netflix film, and it's boring. It has a cool premise to begin with, because it's like, oh, is this house haunted? No. It's just a murderer dude who got in during an open house session, which, if you don't know, in America, I don't know if we do it in the UK, but in America they have open houses. So if you're selling a house, yeah, you have like 9 till 5 where the house is open, people can come in and have a look around, right? And this is when this opportune killer decided to go in and start moving shit around. And it's very quick that you realise that it's not a ghost or anything, and it is just an opportune killer. And then in the end, I'm just going to spoil it. If you don't want this film spoiled, then skip ahead a little bit, but everyone dies and the killer just rocks up to the next open house. It's shit. Right, next up we got a film that had a lot of promise. A lot. Armie Hammer, I rate him as an actor. It's called Wounds, right? And it's got a bit of a graphic start. Dude gets bottled in the face by a group of teenagers, and then in a bar. And then a phone's left on the side, and then the phone gets some weird messages, and it turns out the teens were up to no good, summoning demons or some shit, and it goes all like wild and some twists and turns, and then the end happens, and you're kind of like, right, cool. Didn't rate it. Sorry, Army. The silence. The only redeeming quality of the silence for me, and it would only be for me, is that basically my girlfriend's dad looks just like Stanley Tucci. So every time he was on screen, it was like, haha, it's Sean. Obviously, you're not going to get that reprieve from this film. So for you guys, it's just going to be a shit film. It's just, I'm not even going to explain what it's about. It's crap. Okay guys, fortunately we blitzed through Just Don't. That means we're on to the bad movies. Now the bad movies, I know, like, in horror I feel like if it's bad, yeah, it can still have some redeeming qualities. Like, for example, I'm pretty sure this is on Amazon Prime, which is why it's not on this list, but Zombievers, for example, yeah, that's a bad movie. That's a shit movie, but it's a fucking great movie. Yeah, Bill Burr's in it. You got some animatronic, terrible Zombievers. People turn into zombie beaver. It's just great, but it's bad. In the Tall Grass, I feel like, to begin with, it's like, oh, this is cool. Seems like some timey-wimey, tall grass demon shit going on. This is pretty funky. And as it just goes on, for me it just fell apart, and I'm pretty sure this is Stephen King and his son wrote this project recently together in recent years. It's not got the je ne sais quoi of classic Stephen King, do you know what I mean? I feel like, you know, he's trying to give his son a little bit of a leg up in the industry. I might be wrong, okay? If there's any die-hard King family fans out there, I apologise, okay? But In the Tall Grass just wasn't for me. The Babysitter. Right. Think teenagers in a sacrificial cult, yeah, meets Home Alone. You have The Babysitter. It's quite cool. I like how they set up the relationship with the babysitter and the kid, and then kind of flip that on its head quite rapidly. That was cool. But ultimately, I'm not going to beat around the bush. It's a bad movie. This one was probably, out of the three in bad, the closest to being in good, okay? It's on the cusp, but it couldn't quite get there. The Babysitter. Right, Session 9. It's got the dude from fucking CSI Miami in it. So, that's cool. He didn't really deliver any solid one-liners like he does in CSI Miami, but he has this exact same acting prowess. He's literally, basically, I think he can only play one character, is what I'm trying to get at. But Session 9, it's about a load of asbestos guys. They go into a mental asylum, and some weird shit's going on. People are going missing. There's some tapes of previous therapy sessions. Can you guess how many tapes of sessions there are in Session 9? But it just kind of, it's cool. It's a bit what's going on, and then you get to the end, and it turns into a bit Year 7 drama. Had to write a story, didn't know how to end it, so let's just end it in the most stereotypical but kind of inexplicable, doesn't really make sense way that you possibly could, and its arse fell out right in the dying moments of the movie, which is a big shame because I was sort of enjoying it. But I tell you what it does do, makes me want to explore abandoned mental hospitals for certain. Preferably ones without asbestos in though. Right, good tier. God, this is fleshed out. There's a lot of good movies about on Netflix, horror, yeah? Starting off with Would You Rather. Love the premise. It will make you despise Tories, despise the elite, despise the rich, okay? It's basically a dude who's like a billionaire or some shit, and he preys on people that need money, right? He brings them to a dinner. They feel all special, then he's like, right, we're going to play Would You Rather, but rather than being like, you know, would you rather dry hump an oak tree or kiss your dad on the lips for a few seconds too long, it's like, would you rather cut out your eyeballs or split your tongue in half with a Stanley knife? Yeah, so it's high stakes, and it's literally last man standing gets the cash. Fantastic twist at the end, some really good would you rathers. All I will say is if you're ever in this situation, you're going to want to know the Wim Hof breathing technique, okay? So there we go, that is Would You Rather. Would definitely recommend it. Now when it came out in the cinema, I would have, and I've just seen it for the first time, I would have said, holy shit, this is a god tier movie, I loved it, oh my god, it is amazing, blah blah blah, right? I don't know what happened with my fascination with it. I then watched it again a few months ago on Netflix, and I was just like, do you know what? It's not as good as I remember it. And it came out in 2017. Like, I've never had, in modern times, yeah, I've never had a movie drop off in my own standards so quickly as it did, which is a shame, because I really did enjoy it the first time around. I could not justify putting it in bad, but I couldn't justify putting it in great either. So it is a good movie. If you've got a phobia of clowns, it's a great movie. But for me, I don't know if it's because It Part 2 was just terrible, but it just completely fell off the wagon on my future viewing. So yeah, I'm supposed to be selling this as a good movie. I'm basically putting it in just don't. No, watch it if you haven't. You never know, you might get that first time holy shit like I did. But yeah, maybe it's a one and done, but that's it. Eli. Okay, Eli. The premise is kid can't be out. He's like allergic to everything, okay? Or so it would seem. And so he goes to a facility where the scientists are trying to discover what is wrong with him. And it's a psychological thriller, it's a horror, it's fantastic. And then it has a fucking twist worthy of prime M. Night Shyamalan. Eli, to be honest, could have snuck into great. I'm now questioning myself as to why it isn't, to be honest. It's a fantastic film in my opinion. It takes the genre that it's trying to be in and flips it on its head in a great way. It has an amazing twist, which twists are sometimes hard to pull off, but this one pulls off, in my opinion, very, very well. That is Eli. Check it out. Hush, I believe it's from the makers of Haunting of Hill House. By the way, I think it's Blind Manor is coming out very soon. If you'd like me to do a review of that, I certainly will, because I love Haunting of Hill House. But Hush, amazing premise. Deaf woman, isolated, home alone, and an intruder tries to break in. Works out very quickly that she's deaf, and a cat and mouse ensues. It's excellent. It's an incredibly original premise in my opinion, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So that is Hush. Go check it out. Apostle. Can't really tell you what it's about. It's very weird. I always get these two mixed up, but it's got Martin Sheen in it. Wait, no, it's got Michael Sheen. Martin Sheen is Charlie Sheen's dad. No, it's got Michael Sheen in it. It's got Michael Sheen, and I told you I'd get him mixed up. It's got Michael Sheen in, who's obviously a phenomenal actor. I don't even know if I can explain. It's like about a cult on an island that just want to be independent. And they've captured a woman, and her brother's coming to save her, and it's got wood witches and shit in it. It's mad, it's mad, it's great, it's a really cool premise. I know I've said that a lot, but I feel like with horror films, they need good premises, good premise. I don't know if that's the right term, but Apostle, I feel like it sticks the landing. I feel like it's cool, I like it a lot. Yeah, I'm gonna say good movie. Apostle, if you're looking for something that you've never seen before, something that's unlike anything you've seen before, go for Apostle. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but speaking of original premises, right? The Platform is as original as it gets, in my opinion. You've got, it's a French film, right? So if you don't mind subtitles, you're in. It's a French or is it Spanish? One of the two. And it's about a prison consisting of platforms where food comes down, and depending on what level you're on, depends on how much you eat and what quality you eat, because obviously everyone's like, you know, eating it all and shit. The higher up they are, and then it's like, how do you escape? Do you have to go all the way to the bottom, or do you just wait it out? Because obviously if you're on like platform 2, you're living the fucking high life because you're eating good every single day, but every few weeks or months I think it is, you switch platforms and you can be put on any platform, and then if you're on platform like 300, then you're not going to be eating at all, so you have to resort to cannibalism and things like that. It's an amazing premise, it's a fantastic film, really liked it, and that is why it's on my good tier. Okay, this one will split opinion. We've got Bird Box. I enjoyed it. It's a Cthulhu, Lovecraft-esque horror, which I love Lovecraft stuff. If people could do more Lovecraft video games, more Lovecraft series. There's a Lovecraft series coming out, I can't think of what it's called, but I'm really looking forward to that. And movies and stuff. Then I'll be a very happy bunny, because I think Lovecraft is such a fucking cool concept. The concept of Cthulhu and stuff is just incredible. I enjoyed the movie. I know a lot of people didn't. I think initially Bird Box was like the most viewed Netflix movie of all time. I think it's since been surpassed, but I really enjoyed it. I like the concept that, you know, when you look, because the thing is, like Cthulhu, for example, if the big bad in this movie is Cthulhu, when you gaze upon Cthulhu, it will send you insane, because the mind cannot fathom something like that, and the concept of that to me is very exciting, and I think it's done very well in Bird Box. The reason that the reason that you know it's Cthulhu-esque and Lovecraftian is because of the drawings that the dude does before going insane. And yeah, I liked it. I liked it. There was some you know, edgy moments. There was some tense moments. Whitewater rafting blindfolded was a bit much, but I liked it. It's a good movie. 7 movies left. Right, we're going to blitz through great, okay? We're going to get through this together. I'm not saying this video is a slog, okay? That's not what I'm getting at, but I'm just saying I know that time is precious, so let's go. Right, Unfriended. Really like the premise. It's the whole, there's no camera. It's all from the perspective of a computer. So this was all from the perspective of Skype and like instant messenger and stuff. I don't know. I really like that kind of niche area that horror films sometimes go for, and I think Unfriended does it very well. Another good one is Friend Request. But yeah, Unfriended, I really enjoyed the style. I enjoyed the gore, the horror, the shock value that some of the deaths had. Unfriended is a great movie, highly recommend it. We're moving on quick, we're going on to Orphan. This is apparently based on true events, and I've read the story of what actually happened, and it's crazy that this happened. There's an amazing twist in Orphan. If you don't know what it is, you're in for a treat. It has a very harrowing beginning involving a miscarriage and stuff, which is a bit hard to get past, but once you do that, you've got Orphan, which is just, it's a roller coaster. The little girl is evil, and some of the shit that she does is quite disgusting. Orphan, great movie, go watch it. Insidious, it's just cemented for me as a fucking amazing movie. Whatever you think about the Insidious series, the Conjuring series and all that kind of stuff, if you think they've gone too far or milked it too much, you can't take anything away from Insidious 1. The jump scares in it are excellent. The story is excellent, the acting is excellent. Insidious, for me, is an excellent movie. The first time I ever watched Insidious, I was around my mate Jordan's house. Jordan, if you're watching, I still don't forgive you for this, you bastard. He was like, we're gonna watch this on max volume. I was like, wonderful, thank you, mate. And the scene where the dude pops up behind him scared the living shit out of me, and it was so loud that my eardrums nearly burst. So maybe that's also why Insidious is cemented in my mind as an amazing horror film, because it gave me that amazing scare. But yes, Insidious, fantastic. Okay, I'm not going to beat around the bush here with A Quiet Place. I am a massive John Krasinski fan, yeah? Go Jim. Love the US Office. I'm just going to say it. US Office is better than the UK one. Anyway, this isn't about The Office. I'm sure it's going to spark a big debate down below. Quiet Place, I think the story is amazing. A Quiet Place is basically what The Silence wanted to be. The premise is great. If I have one criticism, I'd say that the monster is revealed in daylight too early. But other than that, I think it's a great movie. A Quiet Place, fantastic horror if you fancy watching. But be careful, because there's some heartbreaking moments, especially towards the end as well. But yeah, A Quiet Place, great movie. Last on the great movie, it's from, I feel like this era, kind of like the mid-tweenies. I think it's come out in like 2014, 2015. I feel like that was a good era for horror. Sinister, fantastic, brilliant. Love the premise. Okay, there's a lot of premises that I love. I need a new thing, or maybe I should just put on a t-shirt. But Sinister, you know, horror writer goes to the scene, or goes and lives in the house of scenes of crimes, and he bit off more than he could chew here, and it's all about like a demon that steals children and kills families, and it's all on like videotape and stuff, and it's just fucking cool. I don't know if I've seen Sinister 2, I haven't heard great things, but Sinister 1, Sinister is excellent. It's just a great film. I'd put Sinister and Insidious I would put up there, well and truly. And to be honest, Sinister and Insidious I almost feel like could have crept into God tier, but not quite. Should we have a look at God tier? Let's have a look at God tier. Okay, so 2 completely different movies, okay? Hereditary, one of the best horror films I've ever seen. I love the way that they do the scares. I love the way that, I'm going to say it because otherwise I can't really explain why I love it so much. So I sometimes find that jump scares are cheap. Okay, everyone thinks that, right? I'm not original in that thought. What I love about Hereditary is some of its scares, right? They have lovely wide shots, and the action, what you're paying attention to is over here. Say they've got a massive room, okay, and the lighting gets darker and darker, and what you'll find sometimes, and this is what Haunting of Hill House did well as well, it's just in the corner of your eye, in the peripheral, in the corner of the shot, there might be a ghost or something, sometimes it's even like, is there something there? and you're kind of like really trying to squint and peer into the darkness because you can kind of make out an object, but you kind of can't. And when you do realise that there's something in the corner of a room, it just fucking fills you with dread. And I think that's what Hereditary does very well. It also has about a third of the way in that shock value moment. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. And it's just exceptional. The actress, I apologise, I can't remember her name, who plays the mother, should have won an Oscar for her performance. It was fucking phenomenal. Phenomenal performance. And yeah, it's just an amazing movie. I know some people don't get it. So I had to read into what it was, and you could argue if you have to do that, then maybe it's not the greatest movie, but there's just so many layers to this film, and for me, it's a god tier movie. Lastly, Cabin in the Woods. It's got it all. Original premise, yeah. It takes what it is and flips it on its head. It's self-aware. It takes the piss out of itself. It's just fucking great. I just love it. Apparently, because the opening scene is so confusing, right? And if you haven't seen it, but apparently the opening scene confused so many people. Some people that went to the cinema to see it walked out because they thought, shit, I'm in the wrong theatre, I'm in the wrong room, I'm seeing the wrong movie, which is hilarious. But yeah, Cabin in the Woods, it's fantastic. Apparently there's a certain actress in it who's in it at the end, and she only agreed to be in it if she was in a scene with a werewolf, which is very odd, but very funny when you realise who the actress is. But yeah, so Cabin in the Woods, amazing movie, funny, entertaining, scary, tense, great concept, brilliant movie, lots of nods to lots of different horror villains and monsters, and it's just one of them movies, you know, that you can just go to and just be like, yeah, that's fucking great. That's fucking class. So yeah, Cabin in the Woods, amazing movie, god tier. That's my tier list, guys. What do you think? Where would you put the movies that I've got here? Have I missed some? Of course I have, because Netflix has so many movies. I didn't want to do the whole of the Netflix database. I'm sure you'll let me know down below the ones that I've missed. Like I said, 1,000 likes, guys. I'll do either a horror series or a true crime documentary series tier list. I like to split these tier list movies up sometimes. Like, I haven't done a tier list in about 5 months because some people see it as cheap content. I just think it's a cool medium to, you know, it's a cool way of just, like, you know, discussing lots of things. And in this case, I wanted to discuss movies. So there we go. That's my personal taste. Like I say, I'm a massive horror fan, guys. Okay, I don't claim to be a film buff or anything like that. Yeah, I didn't do media studies. I'm just a dude that likes watching films, and horror happens to be my favourite. So don't come at me with your fucking media degrees and shit, yeah, because I don't give a fuck, alright? Just tell me what movies you thought were good, tell me what movies you thought were bad, and yeah, like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I really do appreciate it. It means a lot to me. We're on the road to 100k. I want to get it by the end of this year. I mean, we've got 3 months. Jesus, that's a bit tight, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Well, actually, we've got 4 months, but still tight, but we'll see what we can do. Fingers crossed, you never know. But yeah, like, share and subscribe. We've got a Patreon as well if you want to become a patron, and stream on twitch.tv/Dudey Rhino. Thank you. I'll see you very soon, guys. Sweet one, geese.